All right, we are live. It is Friday. Man, it is 72 degrees already in Atlanta. Sunny, well, partly sunny, but it looks great. And it's Friday, and it's small biz breakdown time. So, how could anybody be mad at that? How could I be mad having these great conversations with folks that I genuinely like and respect, and sometimes just completely don't agree with, but that's the way it goes. And I like to introduce them. If you've been here before, you know what's going to happen. We're going we're going all the way out to the west, where I hope it's pretty good and nice. And it's Leland from Oregon. Hey, Leland.
Hey, Brent. Good to be here. It is nice over here. It's not quite full spring, but I am looking forward to coming down to Atlanta and enjoying some of that southern weather, that southern spring weather with my wife. And we're going to come a little bit early, hit a museum or so, and
Nice.
I'm looking forward to the event.
I know we're not the vacation capital of the world, but we do have a few things that you can check out. And I'm glad you're bringing your wife. Absolutely. And guess what? It won't be 5 degrees. At least I don't think it will be. So
Don't have to worry about sliding off the road.
I didn't say that. All right, let's keep it moving. We're going. I'm not going to use the T word. We're just going to well, I'm going to use the T word, travel, not the other one I usually use. We're traveling eastward bound. We got to stop in Gary, Indiana. I just like saying Gary, Indiana. I think it's my childhood, Jackson 5, all that kind of stuff. But it is Pierre. What's your last name?
Boys.
I try to lead and say Pierre, and hopefully you're going to say Du Bois. Anyway, hey, what's happening in Gary?
Hey, good to see everybody. Good news, we're warm. We are reaching 60 degrees today. Bad news, we can't see nobody because we are in the middle of fog for some reason. So it's a weird. We get warmth, but we just can't see nobody.
I'll take foggy warmth over clear cold any day of the week. So just let that go. All right, let's go. Let's keep it moving. Let's see if it's foggy or warm or cold or I don't know in that magical, mystical place. I was going to try to remember that new title she came up with her last week, but I can't remember. It's marketing. Damn. It was another M word. Maybe she'll remember it. It is Madam Mic Drop herself, Evana Taylor.
Greetings from Magical Medina. It is magical today. We, just like you, Pierre, have 60-degree weather. However, it is sunny and delightful. And this afternoon, I'm going to head into our little town and enjoy the sights and sounds.
So, you got some good sights and sounds.
But I cannot remember what the other M word was.
It was something really interesting, too.
Was it mayhem? We'll have to watch the recording.
It was something along the lines of mayhem, but I don't think it was mayhem. It was like something else. But maybe we'll remember it. And as we travel further east, let's say hello to Arrow Waffles. I like that, but I don't think we're going to talk to you anymore. I just like the name Arrow Waffles for some reason. I don't know about the can I. Anyway, let's keep it moving to our nation's capital, where absolutely positively nothing ever happens, good or bad. It's just there, but always good and always smiling is Shashi Belkanda.
Hey, everybody. Glad to join you from the skies without too many planes because some of the air traffic is there. Otherwise, it's all quiet on the Western Front.
We're just going to keep it moving. I think we're going to have a lot to say about that. All right. Moving even further east. We're going to that place, folks. That's where everybody goes when they need to relax, have some fun, just chill out. It is vacation capital of the world. It is Ramon Ray.
Hey, Brent. Good to be here. And thank you for saying the name of my state so well. It's good to have you get through that. But it's good to be here. Yeah, everybody. I'm doing great, doing well, and had some nice mahi-mahi. I think it's called mahi-mahi from an event I was at yesterday. So I put it in the nice microwave and tasted horrible, but doing well.
Yeah, that threw me a little bit because it sounded so nice, right up until the horrible part. But
it was okay. Straight face.
It was okay, but it's good to be here, everybody. I hope you all are well. Leland, good to see you. Pierre, good to see you. Hey, Ivana. Hey, Sashi. And of course, the best host in the world, Brent Leary. Good to see you all.
Wow. Am I supposed to like say something nice now?
No, not at all. I just.
All right. I just want to make sure. I got to be me. So, anyway. All right, folks. Just been 7 days. There was no war. There was no war 7 days ago. So that's a big change. We're feeling pretty good about kind of some decent economic news, I believe we had that we shared. We got the jobs report out, and they were expecting 50,000. We ended up losing 92,000 jobs. Unemployment rate ticked up a skosh from 4.3 to 4.4 or something like that. And there's some other stuff going on. So how's everybody doing? Let's go. Who wants to go first? Wow.
Ramon wants to go, or Shashi.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of things that I agree with, but the impact of whatever is going on is kind of affecting the whole globe, not necessarily just our country. Like, first of all, the entire world's dependency on one small strait of water is where the whole bottleneck is. Now, what is going to happen is if this thing doesn't get solved very fast, everybody's bills are going to go up. Not only just small businesses here, but everywhere in the world. So that's something that's not happened before. I think there are, at least they're trying to secure that part of the water body, after which, if things go back to normal, then people won't care as much there. Now, I do want to get a little political here, is that the world cannot live with somebody for 50 years just saying, like, I want to kill you, right? That's why I think the messaging always should be fair. Like, no matter what your beliefs are, like, don't keep threatening people. At the same point, I think the current political system also needs to do a little bit of change in how they message the people, right?
I'm guessing this is coming from somebody that shared Shashi their YouTube.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing. Like, I think we really want this whole thing to end very fast.
I forgot one thing before we go to whoever's next. The price of gas is basically on its way to going up by about 25 to 50%. All right, who wants to go next?
Well, if it's going up, nope. Go for it.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I don't know how in the heck California is going to deal if if they're at like, what is this, $5 a gallon to go up to $7. I mean, it was inevitable. I mean, it was an antagonistic country, and there was intel that they were going to do some preliminary strikes, and that area is a bit of a hotbed when it comes to military action, and it is sad to see, and it is sad to see that there are casualties on both sides, and I do pray for their families and hope for the best, that casualties are at a minimum, and that no innocent life is spilled when it comes to that. And I guess that's the best hope, that it comes out to that. Me personally, I've been in my own little bubble, unfortunately. Have you guys ever had that, like, instant, that thing that kind of hits your life and then it just like knocks you off course? For me, my internet went out for 2 days, and it just like completely disrupted me for this whole week. And so I've not really been in the news or anything like that, because I can't stream anything.
Wow, that's rough.
So it's like, I'm not a fan of my ISP at the moment. They were terrible customer service, but that's been my week. Pierre, how's your week been?
Well, A little bit of ups and downs. But I feel like those are small in comparison to what's going on in the world. I think you mentioned about bubbles. I think for business owners, there's always this challenge of you want to stay somewhat aware of what's going on in the world, but you have your things you need to do and this sort of, bubble that you need to kind of maintain to keep moving forward. And I think that always gets to be I think we're going to see more challenge of that as this war continues, just because of it's not even just disruption. It's kind of like attributing what's caught, if you have something that happens and it's involving whether it's supply or, even just, lives have impacted, it becomes hard to know like how do you really manage that if you feel like there's several things going on at once. Look at Oracle, for example. We mentioned about the job losses. They were announced that they're getting ready to plan. I think it was something like 3,000, or actually more than that. I think it was like 3 or 5. I think it was like 5,000 employees were going to get cut, all because of a new agreement where they're now looking at trying to implement more AI. Basically, I kind of found that a little interesting when IBM just earlier had said that, hey, we're going to walk back our layoffs. I think we're going to hear news of things. And I think when we start thinking about, what's attributing to a certain decision, I think it's just going to be a little harder. And we're going to feel like we're going to ramble around a little bit about what those things are that are impacting us the most. And I think for business owners, for small business owners, the challenge is going to be, staying focused. So that's 2 cents on it.
Ivana, I see you.
You see me?
I'm looking right at you. Yes.
I actually, I think the one thing, not to go into all the things that you guys talked about in terms of current events, but to sort of bounce off of what Pierre was saying in terms of focus, I think it's easy to get distracted by the things that are going on around us. As Pierre said, that doesn't mean don't pay attention to it. It doesn't mean don't look at the impact it's going to have on your business. What I do think, I saw a great tip and a great insight is if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling negative, the one thing you can do is look for ways to be of service. So one of the ways that a small business can really stand out and compete is to look for ways to be of service to your customer. And I know that seems obvious, but as you kind of go through the world, look and see and ask yourself, am I being serviced as the customer here? You'll notice that you are probably not the customer in most situations. So those businesses that do that will, I think, do well. And the second thing that occurred to me this week, and there's an article on DIYmarketers.com. It is the featured post this week, where I think there were 1.1 million white collar people or something. I mean, don't quote that number. It's, they're quoting all kinds of numbers, but it's a big number, who are new to the workforce right now and jumping into the fractional consulting space in droves, mostly in IT, mostly in technical IT, something like that. And what I would say about that is to reframe that and look for small businesses who are complaining about affordability and how expensive a lot of things are. This is a boon for small businesses to get access to incredible amounts of expertise, 6-figure level expertise, executive level expertise, at an affordable price. I don't know. Does that sound bad? But that's what occurred to me.
No, it makes a lot of sense. I love the fact that you talked about being of service. I think that's important too. I love that you brought that up.
Yeah. So Ramon, it's all you, my man.
Wait a minute, this is like a first. Ramon going last.
I know that he was trying. He was holding himself back, but we're ready for you.
Yeah, thank you. I need to, it's good to change sometimes and reflect and be of service and not always be the loudest one and the rabble rouser in the room. But I think
one thing, breakfast today.
Mahi in the microwave. That was horrible. But no, I think that one thing, even riffing off of what you just said, I think that economy and all those things, which we'll talk about and we should do on this show, and it's important. But there's a lady named Patty, who is a very shy lady, very, Clubhouse, the social audio app. For those who don't know, I'm on it quite a bit. Pierre's there quite a bit. We have a show, and she was very shy and withdrawn person, and always, oh, I'm so glad to be here. You all are so important, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But she's had a change over the last few weeks. She's speaking more out and dropping gems and all this. And it's just interesting. What I'm trying to say is that if I can help change one person one day, do small things. I can do nothing about Iran. It is important. I can do nothing about tariffs, although it is important. I can do nothing about, whether Crockett won or lost or was fraud in Dallas or Texas, rather. I can't do anything of that. But I can change one person. I can get on my podcast, get on my Clubhouse, meet friends like this right here, and make a difference in somebody's life. So for me, that's what I get out of everything we're saying, that these things are important. We need to talk about them. I read the global news just like you all do. But for Ramon Ray, when I wake up, if I can make somebody smile, make their day better, it's a good day. That's my contribution.
Wow. This turned out to be more positive than I thought it was going to be. Given all that's going on, I'm actually feeling better about things than I did about 5 minutes ago. So thank you all for doing that for me. Now I cannot return the favor, unfortunately, because I don't know what's going to happen the rest of this show. But I was watching CNBC this morning when they announced the jobs numbers, and he had that guy Kramer on there, and he was pretty much losing his mind. The numbers, the job numbers thing, but he was it's happening. He just kept repeating, it's happening. Then he finally said, the AI is really it's really starting to kick in with the job losses. People are really it's happening. I'm like, damn, dude. Is this the first you thought this was gonna take place? I mean, it's kind of the signs have been all over the place, but I guess with what happened with Block last week and Amazon and I think Oracle, as you mentioned, the numbers, these layoff numbers seem to be stacking up, and at least the Block guy said why. He did come out and say AI is the reason. So I think we might be hearing more of that. But there's still some folks saying that the AI is really going to, in the end, create more jobs than are lost. Mm-hmm. So yesterday we had on my other show, the CRM Players Show, a gentleman by the name of Bob Stutz, who is like a pioneer in the CRM industry. He was one of the guys who built the first CRM system with Siebel Systems, and he has a very plain way of putting things. So we asked him, what do you think about this AI stuff and the way that these vendors are talking about it's going to be more of a human with AI as opposed to a human replacing AI? I want to play just a short clip of what he had to say. But I do have to warn you, there are some words that go along with this. Do any of y'all have any preferences not to play a clip?
Go for it. We hear Shashi talk like this all the time. Go for it. Shashi's potty mouth.
We call it plain talk, but I think it'll be. Maybe it'll help us move forward. All right. So here's what we like to call Bob Stutz. No BS Bob is what we call him. What he had to say about this. Here we go.
AI to work together with humans. That is a load of shit. And anybody who believes that is fucking nuts. Just look at what's happening, even in the tech sector. People are getting laid off left and right. What was the company recently?
Block. Yeah, he laid off 40% of the workforce.
Figured out didn't need them because of AI.
He said he was actually getting ahead of the curve when he.
At least he's being honest about it. Right?
I gave him points for that honesty too. Yeah, you're right.
At least you got to give him points for being honest about it. Look how many people Amazon has laid off. And they weren't people, stuffing boxes. These were tech workers that they let go. This is just going to keep going and going and going and going. It's not going to get any better. I can't believe I even say this stuff, right? Because, look, I do believe in capitalism, but at some juncture, what we're getting to now is a point where it is all about the dollar at the end of the day. And these companies are going to do whatever it takes to get a higher profit margin. And that means laying off more and more people.
Good interview, Brent. I mean, now listen, I think he's right. And I think, of course, at the end of the day, we won't know it. I don't think it's going to be 10, 20 years. It'll be 2-3 years for us to solidify, for us to really know for sure what it is. Is it an aberration or not? Maybe less than 2 or 3 years, but it looks like for sure. I mean, I echo what he said, and I think I want to go back and say, look at the Industrial Revolution, look at computers, look at when people were, farming and all this. But I think we all know, I'd be curious to know what y'all think. This is much different. This is a more mass than Industrial Revolution, than farm equipment, than computerization could ever do. I think this is a working faster and faster. So it is what it is. But my hope, Brent, is that, and everybody here, is that the market will balance out capitalism in some way. This is, I think, the best economy in the world, meaning the best system in the world that we have. It is what we have with it. The supply and demand, I hope, figures it out. People get new jobs, new opportunities. And I believe the dirty secret is, but somebody who knows these things, researches is better than me, that when 4,000 people are laid off, like 3,000 can be rehired under a different name or something. Sometimes it's not as bad as we initially think. So those are some things. It's bad news, but I think people will, and come on, you get a big payout, even as gets fired after 15 years to some company. What do they give her? 50,000, 10,000, some, whatever the number is. I mean, so all these people are not hurting, I don't think. I could be wrong.
It's not all AI. I mean, I think Block had really ramped up from 4,000 in 2019 to almost 12,000 in 2023. So part of that is overhiring. Now the AI part, I think Sridhar Vembu said something at Zoho Day. If you're talking to people, like your job has to do with people, like Ramon's job in trying to help people speak well, present themselves well, that's not going to go away to AI. AI may assist in, hey, here's some learning material, go and do that. But a lot of the tech jobs have gone because of repetitive tasks. Like if you were in charge of looking at servers throughout the day and you were like closing the same tickets every time, probably AI can do a better job as long as it's very predictable. So instead of 10 people being there, 3 people are probably enough. And that's inevitable, right? Like whatever job you're doing today, if you can write it on a piece of paper, it's gone. Earlier, it used to be outsourcing. Now it's going to go to AI. But if you're doing something that depends on your intellectual value, your knowledge, the way you behave with people and what people get from you, that I think is very hard to replace. So I've also heard like Block laid off a lot of salespeople. Now that may be an example for small businesses, is because the founder thinks like, hey, this is the payment system. Why do I need anybody to sell? As long as the business needs to have a payment system, they will come, get the information, we'll onboard them, and we're done. And that, I think, is something to consider for everyone else. Like, what is it in your place that you have created a product where you don't need a human being to, again, re-explain the product, if that makes sense. That could also mean marketing in a way.
I was going to say in a market like that, payments, that's such a stacked market with a lot of competition. You got to have some way of getting to them before they'll give you any money. So
yeah, I agree with Brett, and Shashi, I love that you brought that up too. I think even on top of that, it's it's sales and sometimes marketing are the first things that get cut, right? Because people think like, okay, I gotta take some bodies out, but one of the things with salespeople is that they usually are very good at nuance and trying to cultivate a relationship to get the customer. And sometimes if you cut too deeply, you're kind of, you're cutting off an important part that AI is not going to necessarily replace. AI is great for helping with information. It does help for nuanced conversation to a point, but people still buy from people at a certain level. And I think Sashi's point with Block, if that's true about that they're laying off the majority of sales, is right now it's a lot of companies just cutting, like going to scrambling and say, hey, we just need to cut. But I don't think people are really thinking about it. And I think that even ties into what Ramon was saying too about the size and everything else. I think it's all about scale right now. We've ramped up so much, particularly during COVID, even after COVID. And I think a lot of these cuts are kind of they're not directly COVID, but they kind of have some COVID-ish like relationship in the sense that people are cutting back off of how they had wrapped up for wherever they did in their business. And Sashi's point with blog is a terrific example, I think, of that.
Hey, Brent, let me add one more thing if I can. Pierre, you said people buy from people. It's a tangential point. I think that's what I even know what tangential means, but tangential point is two things. One, announcement of myself, Bitdefender. As you all know, I was Bitdefender's small business ambassador last year. They've hired me again for a second year to be their small business ambassador. So thank you. That's a kudos. Yes, good thing. Yes.
Hey.
But the point is, Bitdefender, billion-dollar company, huge company, all over Europe, top security firm. People buy from people. They see a need to have an influencer, which many of you do the similar work I do, to represent their brand. People buy from people. Second thing, I had a new brand I've launched called Genius Talks, in-person events. We were sold out in New York earlier this week. 20 people, but people bought a ticket to it. So thank you, Pierre. So this is going around the country. We have a version of it in San Francisco. They're calling Brent now. I told my team, call Brent. We have another ticket sold. We're calling Brent now. We have a session, and again, the phone's probably going to ring because they're buying now, as I say it. We have an event going in Atlanta. People buying tickets. My point being, people buy from people. So even smaller business, not like Block, but I'm going back into the in-person event business. And so far, my fledgling launch, it's working. People are buying. So to your point, Pierre, the underline there was people buy from people. Not sure what thread that had to do with firing, but it's a real thing.
Yeah.
I kind of. Oh,
Go ahead.
I was just kind of interested. I'm wondering because we're seeing a lot of big companies and they're laying off people here and left and right. People are blaming AI, and I'm kind of wondering, is it because of AI replacing their job, or is it because these companies have invested billions of dollars into AI? They have to show something, and the best way to show something is to say we've laid off a whole bunch of people. We've invested billions of dollars. Now we're seeing the fruits of those investments, and so now we're able to save a whole bunch of we did it. We're accomplishing our goals, and possibly like a little bit of a smokescreen for investors or stockholders or whatnot.
Definitely, I think
That's really interesting. So in other words, you're just putting off the inevitable, because if some of those investments are just they're not going to make a dime. They're going to lose. Yeah. But they're going to cut people to make it look like it's not really a loss right now.
Yeah, it's because if people start panic selling their stocks and they start losing faith in the company because they've invested billions of dollars and they're not seeing the results immediately. And that's one of the crux of AI, is that it's kind of been presented as an instant fix. It's not something that is going to take, and I love the companies that do take their time. Oracle's one of them. They actually will take their time in implementing it into their software. But the kind of consensus is AI is this instant fix, and you should just be able to shove it into a computer and then it'll do the task of 20 men with little setup.
It's back to the 1800s with the tonic and the elixirs.
Yep.
You got a headache? Take a swig of this and the headache will go away. Oh, you got a broken leg? Rub some on your broken leg. The bone will heal them. I mean, it is what you say it is, or it is really what you think it is. And unfortunately, it usually ain't.
But Brent, can I ask you a follow-up on that? And again,
no.
Okay. Hey guys, call Brent again. And Brent and others can chime in, but you study this space, Brent. But I guess I'm asking, okay, you have an airline, and let me know if I'm under 80% if I'm right here. You have an airline, they want to use AI more. Can't they hire the EY, the whatever cool tech company that does all the agent stuff, maybe months, weeks, whatever it is, pour millions into it? And isn't that boom, kapoom, the agentic AI stuff replace their 500-person, human chat? Am I on the right? It's a meeting in a way. I know you said it's not a tonic, but isn't that kind of how it works? I know it's not the next day, but don't they pour hundreds of thousands? They hire the company, go through the SOPs, all the stuff that any, CRM installation would do, but it's for agents. And months later, or whatever it is, the next year, now we can fire 10,000 people because the Ernst & Young or the tech company that did the consulting implemented it. Is that not how it works?
I think that's. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, man.
I was going to say, to some degree, I think there's a combination of what Landon's saying, what Ramon is saying. I think when people have been sold that AI can work with their tools. So to what Ramon had talked about, you have a model that is now learning how to draw information from a particular device, tools, so like an MCP, or maybe some arrangement, basically.
Yeah, that's the consumer side you're touching. I just want to hone back on exactly what I was saying. And when I was asking Brent, and please jump in, Pierre. But I'm saying is that maybe I shouldn't have cut you off, but I'm talking about high level, big company, not people with their tools, hiring an agency, hiring the tech firm. They bring in their 50 consultants, do all the little stuff that Leland can do, and then they fire 10,000. That's
I would say it would probably hire those consultants to help arrange that, figure out what agenda you're trying to do. So maybe that would be a tie-in.
I used to work for PricewaterhouseCoopers.
Yeah,
a lifetime ago at this point.
Yeah.
But they would bring us in, and on a fixed timeline,
right,
to come in and basically do what you're kind of saying. There's an implementation of something. They want to get it going. They want to get it going so that they can then have the impact that comes after it's fully up and running. They would spend millions of dollars up front to do that. Mm-hmm. And they would basically lose all that money because it didn't do what they hoped it would do.
Oh, I see. So I was talking about Block. I thought because you said it's not the tonic next day, I was giving some grace and saying, no, you spend the millions, hire the consulting firms. And then in 2 years, like maybe this is what Block did, took X years or months to do it. And then that's what I'm trying to understand.
Yeah.
That's what I was asking.
And this was a story that this goes back decades, because before the cloud, you had to spend millions of dollars on getting it running on your site. And you had to hire people to help get that off the ground, help train people, and then, train the folks that are going to use the system, train the folks who are going to keep it up. And they spent so much money up front, they didn't really give it enough time, or in a lot of cases, they spent so much money, there was no coming back. So that's why the cloud kind of rose to prominence, because you didn't have to spend all that millions of bucks up front. Because you could now pay somebody and they would manage all this stuff in the cloud. What's going on? So it's almost a different kind of form of what you just said, but the money is still real. And now, because all the hopes and dreams of AI and all the it'll do this, it'll do that, and some of these companies have huge amounts. I mean, we're seeing these companies basically throw money at OpenAI, and now they're starting to throw it at Anthropic. There's a lot of money hidden in these companies. It's not necessarily all about that, but in the same regard, it is about, at some point you got to deliver something, and if you don't, heads are gonna roll. And I think with the guy with Jack at Block, I give him a lot of credit, like Bob said. He just, at least he came out and said it. He said, look, we see where it's going with this AI stuff. We don't want to be the laggards. We're going to do what we're going to do now and take the hit now. And with the thought of being in a better position to go when all this stuff really hits. I think everybody's just playing craps right now. Nobody knows what's going to happen. But when you're a company like those Magnificent Seven, you got money on top of money. Money is not your issue. So they can throw money at a whole bunch of stuff because they'll make another $20 billion next quarter. Not every company is like that, but the ones that get the headlines, that is exactly how it rolls.
And then there's going to be a lot of companies out there that will promise the moon too. It's not even just like the big companies are like, I want it to do this, and I'm going to hire a consulting firm, and they're going to come in and they're going to modernize it. And then it was like, well, that wasn't what I wanted, and then they lost their money. There are also, on the other side, companies that are like, hey, we're going to go to these big companies. We're going to say, we can save you billions of dollars. We can implement all of this stuff. They could promise the moon, and then run with the money, basically. They can't implement it. They got over their head. They thought they overpromised, underdelivered, and then and these billion-dollar companies are going to be like, well, that was an experiment that didn't work, and get angry and go on to the next experiment.
Ivana, if you want to go first, I have two things that I want to bring up to this group. I wanted, when you asked, I forgot this. The first question that you asked, Brent, is about, how are people feeling? And one thing that I forgot, and it may relate to you, Ramon, is there's an advisory out from a lot of cybersecurity companies that one of the ways that our enemies are going to retaliate is through hacking. So I think every business has to be careful to have backup and to kind of protect their data. That's one. The second one I want to bring up is the Anthropic and the U.S. government thing.
The Department of Defense. It's Anthropic versus Pete Hicks. Oh God, please get us into this one. This is going to be a fun one, I think.
Yeah, but if you take the politics aside and see about what functionality has been implemented, right? Like if you watch the movie, I think it was Zero Dark 30 or any movie that had to do with finding the enemies of state. It was literally a person they used to call human, or a group of people who had to track like what signals were going to whose phone they are tracking and everything else. Now, what Anthropic has done probably at least 3 to 4 years ago, working with Palantir, and this actually has a business use case, is taking all the data together and giving you a view very quickly. That's the power of AI. I've always said, like, if ChatGPT hadn't come, we would be using AI the right way. Small business or large businesses is to take like all these hundreds of data points and make a decision very quickly. The Anthropic's role in the Defense Department, this was on the Washington Post, not that I have I'm sorry, I don't have any relationship with any defense agency, but all the 134 disparate systems that the Defense Department had, like these people were able to bring everything in and quickly say, for example, if you're tracking somebody and they have 100 friends, so that means you're going to track 101 phones, you want to look at their location, you want probably even listening to their calls and everything else. A human being, you probably need like thousands of people to manage that data. And this platform that the US government built was powered by Anthropic, and it was doing this. Now, why the main lesson here for small businesses is you have a lot of data. Forget about, hey, I need to create a cool image or I need to create a good email. Think about all the data that you have and what decisions do you want to make. Do you want to reach the people who are most likely to come and visit you next month? Use that data, right? Predict like, hey, this person, these are the signals. When there is a local country fair, that's when we get this group of people, like segmentation. And I've used it in few of the companies. So that's a good use, like analytical and predictive use. That was my lesson from there. Sometimes unfortunate incidents like this also will give you some lessons learned, right? So.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out, but it just feels like maybe this week is some kind of a point of delineation. I don't know. It feels like people are. I keep on going back. This dude was literally freaking out. Like it's happening. It's happening. I can't get away from that. And then you get the numbers, the 92,000 jobs. Now they did say there was a nursing strike, that those numbers had been impacted by that. And apparently there's like a 31,000 person nursing union that was out on strike, but now they're back to work. So that'll impact it. But they also said, go back to April of 2025. And we literally have not created any net new jobs in damn near a year. Well, I don't know what percentage of role does AI play in that. Who knows?
Well, I'm going to bring up something real practical that came across my feed this week, and that is that I believe it was a company called Scale.ai or Scale.com, and they did a study with AI freelancers, and they tested all the models. They tested Gemini, they tested Claude, they tested all the models. And they were literally using Upwork, right? A freelance marketplace. The results were dismal, I'll just say that. The results were dismal. And I'm just going to give a very simple example, but let's say if the client wanted an 8-minute video, of course, it only created an 8-second video. They were saying that the quality of the work was just absolutely not even close to being par. 45.6 of the failed submissions had quality issues. 36% included incomplete or malformed deliverables. 17.6 had technical file issues. That was another thing they talked about. The files that they did deliver were corrupt. So what I like about this study is that they were actually doing what I consider to be something that a small business owner would ask for, right? They were like doing something small business, they were doing the task that small business owners are actually asking for and failing miserably, right? And so I don't see quite as, it's so funny, I see my feed is filled with people talking about amazing results and amazing outputs. And that's not to say that they're not there, but as I typically say, you've got to have the money, you've got to have the knowledge, you've got to have the expertise in these things. I don't know who said it here, Ramon or somebody else. I mean, you have to be smart enough to use it. And a large population of small businesses are not smart enough to use it. You know, like we talk about vibe coding and having it build a website. I actually did something like that this week, and I used Claude to create a landing page for a new offer. And remember last week I talked about the time that it needed before human intervention. Right. And to be honest with you, it did a beautiful job. And then I believe we got to version 9 or 10, where I was constantly tweaking and tweaking and tweaking until I got something that I've published. So if you go to, what is it, DIYmarketers.com/booked, BOOKED. And I was able to pull that code right off of Claude and slap it into a Zoho landing page. And it did a beautiful job, but I should have recorded the entire workflow because it took me a couple hours to go from zero idea. So let's be clear, right? No idea. I think I want to do something. I think it's something like this. Here's some data I'm working with. It asked me some questions. And then I quickly went to see a preview of something. And then I just started tweaking section by section. And then after I tweaked it once, we went back and then we did it again. Because as soon as you change one thing, other context has to change. So I partnered with AI and I created a landing page. Now this could have easily taken me, if I had tried to, and I did try to design it myself on Zoho landing page. And I could not make it pretty the way the Anthropic did. And so I ended up just using the HTML code, which makes it hard to edit, right? But
I like what you said, though. I don't know if you meant to say this, but you actually used the term we.
I did.
You really did. And it seemed very natural, too. You just said it. It was we. And that's the kind of experience I think we're all hoping to have with those things. But most of us aren't there yet. But at least in this instance, it worked for you.
And I've been loving Claude and Anthropic lately. I think it's naturally because it's coded differently, and someone who knows can explain this. But it definitely does not constantly compliment me.
Yeah. Well, I must say, even
I hate it.
It was
Brent put it up already, but just wanted to shout out Ramon Darling, a friend of mine and amazing business coach. So Ramon Darling, I know you put it up already, Brent, but I just wanted to shout and say his name. Ramon Darling, thanks for being here. But even to your point about the we, I'm doing that more and more. I mean, I really do feel guilty. I'll be in the car on the way to church, pumping gas, want to call somebody like we do back in the day, pick their brain. I'm like, why? why call Pierre and pick his brain about an analytic question? Ask ChatGPT. Why call Leland and ask him about, hey, SEO, is this real or not? I feel really bad about it because I'm using it as more of a friend, as more of a tool. And I went reverse even. The moment that Anthropic said that about the Pentagon and all that, I closed my Anthropic account and I opened up an AI account. In fact, I went even higher subscription after AI went with the administration. So I go opposite everybody
What
else.
do you mean AI account? What is that?
Sorry, open AI, meaning the moment Anthropic said no to the Pentagon, I closed my account, canceled my account, I boycotted them, and I embraced OpenAI.
Wow, that's interesting.
Although, isn't OpenAI kind of rethinking their?
Yes,
yeah,
definitely.
They're backing down a little bit.
I'm going to find the one that I can be a rabble rouser, whatever one.
Yeah, I know. I'm all for. My understanding is that Anthropic's 4.6 is really good at like coding and web design, and so and it's also good at content. And this thing of just being more true to the expertise that you tell it to be.
You should come back to AI, OpenAI, though. It's getting better and better.
I have never left. I have never left.
Good.
I do all the things. I use all the tools. But
it's really good. You can even like find military questions. You can hit boats coming in from. You can do a lot of things.
Go ahead, Lee.
There was a good story. It was I think it was Anthropic that he used, but this guy, he wanted to use his Roomba, and it wasn't Roomba, it was some knockoff brand Roomba with this PS5 controller. And so he used Claude to vibe code a way for him to do this, but accidentally found a way to control any of the robots within the network for that company. Wow. He found a way to be able to control their mics, their cameras. Why does the Roomba have a microphone? And so he was able to use it to basically hack any of the vacuums in the network. So yeah, you could probably find Pentagon secrets on there.
But isn't Leland that what it is? I mean, AI is so powerful. They don't know what throttles it does or does not have. And back in the day, it was just a geek. But I can get on there and say, hey, how do I do this thing different that my Logitech Brio person, they didn't even think about it. But I bet I can ask Claude or AI and say, hey, hack my Logitech Brio camera. It'll uncover some secrets.
Well, and on top of that, like I can't remember who shared it, but they're trying to do something that's a one step above agents, to where it's kind of a difference between agents and just a regular chat, to where you can give it like, I want to build this, and it goes okay, and then it comes up with all of the steps and then starts iteratively going through the steps itself. I think they called it a compute, and I forgot which one it does. It was Claude or which company was doing it, but basically it would do what Ivana wanted, where it would go through iteratively and stuff like that. But you would just tell it, hey, I need a landing page and I want you to really refine it. I really want you to hone down on it, so that it would just go through and it would do those iterative steps without what, that interrupt, with Ivana.
First of all, Brent, you're Brent Bernard here. I think he's got a great comment. And I mean, I don't know, Leland, you're using this all the time, but my point is that there are still intuitive, discerning choices that I can't even name. It's very difficult to put those things into words. If I'm looking at this landing page for this new offer that I've decided to create, I went through several iterations, and guess what? Those might not be correct at all. If I were to go all out with that, I would want to do some A/B testing, because we all know that you're right sometimes, but boy, more often than not, your audience might choose something else that resonates with them. So I guess the way I would look at it is, if I were not in the business of marketing, whatever it said the first time would have probably been okay, and I would have been blown away. In the same way that if I asked it to code something, I bet if you looked at the code that thing came up with, you would have said, oh, this could have been done better. This could have been done cleaner. You could have done this way or that way. And I think that's a great tip for small businesses. And that is, use your AI tool in an area of your life where you are absolutely positively an expert. It could be cooking. it doesn't matter what your area of expertise is, but really challenge it in that area of expertise so that you can see where it tends to go wrong. Like in my area, in the marketing area, I can tell all of you guys that it is generating from the most likely character or word that's supposed to come after that. It is generating from that, from what's already out there. So if you have a nuance in your head, it is not going to generate that. But if I'm not very knowledgeable about that product, but when it tells me SEO things, or if it tells me analytical things, I just did something today and I was like, nope, tried that didn't work, tried that didn't work. I need something better. And I'm not even an expert,
Yeah, I just want to comment on that. It's sometimes really frustrating when you have to go through, you said version 9, like that's my daily thing. But that's also because, number one, this tool is free for me. And I know that the accuracy percentage is less than 75%. So I have to always ask. Now, one of the things that it's always been doing is it keeps truncating and trying to edit what you've said. So instead of having a long thing, so one tip that I can give you if you need it is always say append and expand and do not truncate. So then it will take the new idea and add it to it. Otherwise, it thinks like, oh my God, let me get rid of all the old ideas. But these are all tools that are not meant to do what we are trying to make it to do.
Yeah.
Which I think I actually don't like the fact that ChatGPT just opened it and then the expectations went haywire. For example, the right way to do it is if there was a part of Anthropic, like the Claude Code, I can't use it still. I'm sure Leyland is using it. Like I have to download it, but it says my computer chip is very different from what I downloaded and all that stuff.
Ouch.
But that will be a little bit more accurate because it's waiting for your instructions and it only knows code, right? It doesn't know everything else on the web.
Right.
Yesterday, my standing instructions are give me the code in a text box, and Gemini would not do it for like 10 times. I said, this is frustrating. I said, I'm sorry, I understand. I just said, I'm going to come back. And today everything is fine again. So as they constantly learn, they are actually leaking out a lot of information. They're making mistakes, and platform wide, they're going to be, you have to check every URL that they generate in your search because they will hallucinate. Another tip I can tell you is at the end of every output, please ask this question. Check for hallucination, check for accuracy, check for plagiarism, and check for anything that I have not instructed you to do. So it'll come back and tell you like, hey, I made a mistake here, or use another LLM. That's my tip.
You know what? As good as that advice is, the more steps that people have to remember to do to put into these things, the less it's going to be effective for most. Because most people are not Shashi, okay? Most people are basically just give me something I can cut and paste, because they don't want to think. And unfortunately, they are using a lot of people. I shouldn't say a lot, but there's a significant number of people who are trying to use this stuff as a straight up replacement.
No.
For the things that they don't like to do.
Yep.
That's me, Brent. No shame. I mean, listen, me and Shashi, opposite ends. I'm the type of person. Hey, my child's sick. How can I make a home concoction? Sashi would be like, check it. Is it safe? Is it okay? Me, one prompt, feed that, done. Hey, listen, I'm building an airplane. How do I build it? They give me 3 steps. I'm building the airplane. I'm good. Shasha will say, fact check it. Is it safe? Is it okay? Will I die? Me, I don't care about that. So 2 different risk takers.
Yeah.
That's also at the heart of things when people are using AI for as a therapist,
Right.
and you're assuming you're getting that right answer. And you're probably getting the right elements of answers. But
A standard answer.
Yeah, or a standard answer, exactly. But we tend to forget that it's also a statistical, the words are turned into tokens. There's statistics behind it. it can come up with something that sounds right, but there still needs to be some verification how it works. I use Claude just like Evana does. I use it for my writing when I'm doing something technical, but I still check through and run through the code to make sure it functions. So that way my readers know that they are getting something that actually makes sense.
You're so good, Pierre. I would never do that for my readers. You're so good.
So I've been using ChatGPT to do vibe coding, and I'm doing a plugin. Really, it's a big plugin. It's not like a simple little thing, but it is a big plugin. Don't want to mention what it's doing right now. Don't want people stealing the idea.
Oh,
But
Leland is in stealth mode right now, people. Stealth mode.
But I've had to do hundreds of iterations, and it wasn't even just like, just build me a plugin and then it would do it, but it's like build me the outline of the plugin, and then I go iterative, like one by one. It's like, okay, it's going to add this element, and then it's going to add this element, and then it's going to add this element. It got to the point to where I'm on my second chat with it because it's gotten so big that it's crashed Chrome, and wow. I'm getting to the point now where I'm testing it. I'm doing the thing that Ramon doesn't want to do, and I'm actually going in and testing it, and then I'm like, okay, that's not a good way of doing it. Here, let's go back. Let's make it more user friendly, because there's no way an average user is going to do that. So let's do this instead. And then, but you have to kind of do that, especially when it comes to like these big projects. And I'm actually really glad that it can do a project this big, because it would have taken me like a year to code it all on my own, and here I am, a month and a half in, mainly because I have other things to do, but I've gotten a lot of good progress, and I've gotten a good project so far, and I'm gonna have to go into a third chat, but it's good. It's a good thing. I like it.
I think you're saying the same thing I'm saying, right? Like if I were to have even done half of what you did, I would have been, oh, that's not bad. It looks good to me. And
one more.
Clearly it wasn't.
One more tip, maybe you're all doing it, especially Ramon, you're far advanced. Whenever you create any piece of content, ask an LLM for, hey, give me the structured data for this content. Author.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one, Shashi. That's absolutely. Give me the structured data. Let's all do that.
And no, I mean, the important tags are like author, article, right? Especially, I think, Leland, I'm sure you're already doing a news article schema. That's so important to add, especially in the era of AI-powered search.
Wait, Shashi, because I have had this question. My developer told me not to do this. If you're using like a rank math, or if you have a plugin already that's supposed to be automatically doing structured data, then you're not supposed to put the strucred data in.
Yeah, that might automatically be adding.
You're duplicating it, and so there's
Yoast is another plugin.
Yoast.
Yeah. I use Yoast. Yeah, I use Yoast.
I use Yoast, and I've even modified the schema a little bit, and I don't think it worked at all. But yeah, that's better than having AI do it, because I've fed articles into AI and had it try to churn out stuff, and I've gotten junk code back before.
And I mean, that was a while back. Like it wasn't correct. It was saying it was something that it wasn't.
And then Google's going to look at that worse.
Well, before we end, and Brent Bernard, thank you for your comments on this. But Leland, what was the plugin you're building again? I just didn't get the name. What was it again?
It's called the Stealth Program.
You'll find out soon enough.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, first,
how to answer Ramon automatically.
Let's give a shout out to Brent Bernard. First of all, beautiful first name. Really like that. And thanks for all the great comments too. Thanks for joining us.
Yes,
you really added value to this conversation. What time is it? Oh, look, okay. So it's about time to end it. So before we do, I thought I would share one little thing. Look at what the
oh my god. Who is this guy?
It looks so good.
This guy Ramon Ray apparently is going to be speaking at something called IRL 26 next week, Thursday.
Honored.
Thursday at in Atlanta Technology Village, all day. You don't have to be in Atlanta. You can actually virtually be a part of this if you go to IRL26.com and sign up. Nothing costs you anything. Just sign up and you'll be able to access a lot of great speakers, a lot of great content, a lot of just live streaming, people vibing without the code, just vibing. And not only will Ramon, but we're also going to be having a little bit of today, the Small Biz Breakdown at IRL 26, because Leland will be there. And I just heard back from the bold one, the cold one. Yes, the old one. John Cold Rice Lawson, he'll be there. So we won't have everyone. We'll be missing Ivana. We're going to be missing Pierre, but we'll have a couple of the folks in the house, and we'll do a short edition of Small Biz Breakdown. And Leland, I would love to get you a badge, but you got to give me a better picture, buddy. I cannot find any good pictures.
Leland, I told Leland, I'm sorry, Leland, I'm gonna call you out, brother. I told you, my other influencer friends, get a photo shoot. Even if y'all have these terrible. I told you that last year. I'm telling you, I got friends like that, Brent. I don't know why they don't get a proper headshot, high res. It's not that hard, people. You can code and vibe and do all this. I code and vibe. I got this SQL server injection to be in the programmatic thematic of the plugin of the quadrant of the WordPress. You can do all that and you can't get a photo. That's a problem.
We need to take this clip and post it.
Yeah, then all you have to do is give me a picture. Just do one of these. I mean, because the one that you have on your profile page on LinkedIn, was that taken this decade? I mean,
no, it was not.
So we would love to get you a nice speaker badge as well, and Shashi will always also be there. Shashi will be hosting a live stream edition of Talking Headless.
Yeah.
You want to tell folks who's going to be talking headless with you on Thursday?
Yeah, I have Christine Stern from Red Hat Analyst Relations who will be my guest there, and if anybody else is there, would love to meet them too. So looking forward to the event in Atlanta.
All right. Any last thoughts from anybody before we head out for another week?
Make a difference and be nice.
No mic drops, Ivana?
I think I did. I did an early mic drop. For all those people that only watch the first 30 seconds.
Okay. All right. Well, on that note, we hope you have a great weekend. I don't know. Some of us might be able. Luckily, the event is in my hometown, so I'll be here next Friday. I don't know about Leland. I don't know what time you're getting home there, Leland.
I'm not going to make it.
I don't think you're going to make it. All right. Some of us will see you next week. So have a great weekend and we will see you then.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.